Hold tight for 2 seconds because it took 2 seconds for it to happen again. Hold tight. Jay, hey everybody. Okay, I think we're good. I had the weirdest glitch. It was like the weirdest glitch. I'm not gonna talk about it because that's not what I do. Hey everyone, welcome to Suit It Up. My name's Chris, and welcome to the show. It's something we do every Wednesday. Here we are. Let's go ahead. Eric, I wasn't late. I had to restart 3 times. There was a minor technical issue. Interesting. Yeah, but hey everyone, welcome to Suit Up. This is your first time here. Welcome. If this is not your first time here, thanks for coming back. My name's Chris Casper. Yeah, you couldn't get in, could you? There was something there. Yeah, it was very unique. So I was not late. I had to restart like 3 times. I'm very proud of my time punctuality for this show. I'm very punctual. Okay. Welcome everyone though. If you're first time tuning in, I would like to establish that I am the person and not this, okay? Like this is taking on its own person and it's its own thing. Oh. Track is so good. All right, anyway. But that's okay because I've got a guy on tonight who's gonna give me a run for my money for hair volume. That's true. I wish I could do it in a bun. The problem is if I pull it back, it just stacks on top of each other. It makes like a mound of hair. It's big. It's weird. That's the first time in my life I've ever been able to say something like that to George. Come in here with the big flex, man. Look at this. Look at the stallion. That's George. In fact, guys, the thing is that when George is out in public in the environment in the UK, that's actually his real form. He's an anamorph. And when he goes through the normal life, that he's as graceful and as majestic as a stallion, and that is actually his body. I know that's the real deal, you guys. That is George's true form. They even Animorphs had a copyright, Animorphs had a copy. You know what? We're moving on. We're not even gonna do the joke. It wasn't a good joke anyway. That was the sign. That was the sign. Thank you so much for that gift, by the way. That's a narwhal. That's my Animorph form. I'm just the horn part, though. Just the horn part. Just the useless, sticky thing. Just poking away. All right, everyone. Let's go ahead and crack into it, okay? Let's go ahead and crack into it. If this is your first time here, welcome to Suit Up. This is a show we do every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is it's an interview style show, late night format, where we go over how people got to where they are, the things that they're interested in, what their backstory is, what life is like, and really get to know them, humanize the streamer. Okay. Today we have on the show Manu, who is unique because he's the first ever of something. And I'm sure some of you know, but we got Manu on tonight. We got Manu. Canby, it is clean. Thanks to you. Guys, Canby keeps me clean, shaven. Then, can you... Thank you. There you go. It's fixed. Thank you. And then we have Harley, the ever generous, ever present VIP that all of us have grown to know and love. We have her on the show tonight. We also have a returning guest, which I said I wasn't going to do returning guests, but this guy made a great case, as he always does, which is why I like him. Mr. Miami is back on the show after more than a year for a second round, but his conversation is going to be quite different. His conversation is going to be, did you bribe me? Because I feel like I put the bar pretty low to be bribed, if that was the case. He's going to come on, but we're not going to do a normal interview. We have some banter. To end out the show with. Miami's an observational person. The first time he was interviewed as a VIP. Now we're interviewing a new person, a completely different person, Top Badge Miami, which is not VIP Miami. VIP Miami was liked a lot more for obvious reasons. All right, anyway, on to announcements. Who caught last week, Thursday, that Sarah King live? That Sarah King live where she performed, holy smokes. holy smokes, if you missed Sarah King last week Thursday, you missed outrageous talent. I just spoke to today the performer for the Meet Me Live Aid tomorrow. He's an awesome guy. And you can check in the top banner. If you're wondering what that looks like, everyone, by the way, for that top banner for the Live Aid, looks a bit like that, okay? You got the Meet Me Live Aid, all right? And so Sarah King was last week, and then we've got Katsu Oso tomorrow, Thursday. Man, it's already Thursday. Because I sleep from 5 p.m. to now, I think it's Saturday or something. I don't know what day it is. I'm completely disoriented. It's like I was cryogenically frozen and I was told I needed to wake up and put a suit on. So, okay, that seems fair. So Katsu is going to be on tomorrow, Katsu Oso. He is very much an indie funk, cool vibe artist. He's doing an acoustic set tomorrow. We'll get to know him a bit more, find out how he's been grinding and producing his music as well as the changes he's made music. I strongly encourage you guys to come out to the Meet Me Live Aid. The past 2 weeks have been phenomenal. So much love to all the performers that have happened so far. We got a new contest coming up. What? Remember that time, you guys, when I used to not acknowledge gifts in the show? Now I'm just like, whatever. I'm just gonna do it. Thanks for the microphone. Appreciate it. I mean, sometimes they take precedent, right? Thank you, Jim. All right, that's Jim. In case you guys don't know, that's Jim B's favorite gift. They legally cannot remove it from the App Store from the gift. What is it? Man, do I even know words? You have a new gift? What's your new favorite gift? That's like slick of me, wasn't it? What's your new favorite gift, Jim? Oh, I thought that was your favorite gift, right there, the castle. All right, that was good. That's slick. All right. We got another contest, everybody. It's the Meet Me Spring Fling, which seems kind of counterintuitive to what? No. This is my one chance to be Godzilla. Now that I did that in practice, that was a really weird idea. I thought it was a good idea until I did it, and then I really did not. Thank you. That gift worked. In my mind, it was good in practice. All right, Spring Fling. Thank you for the T-Rex. Guys, you should Google what the original Tyrannosaurus Rex noise was made out of. In the original Jurassic Park, Google how did they make the T-Rex noise. You will be flabbergasted at what sounds they combined to make the T-Rex sound. I'm not going to tell you because that's going to eat up more time. And I'm already eating up a lot more time, okay? All right, so the top 16. 800,000. Do it after the show. Man, I'm bad at this. I'm always telling people to do things other than watch the show during the show. I'm like, hey, did you watch that episode of Lost? You haven't seen Lost? You better go binge it right now. All right. Lost is irrelevant for the past decade. Okay. 800K at first, 40K to 16th. We just did another great contest. It was the Quarantine Cuties, right? And let's go ahead and run through a couple of those winners. I'm sorry, Quarantine Cuties is still ongoing. This is the contest for best couples that have been found or had some togetherness from Meet Me. So obviously, Meet Me is a great way to meet someone, whether it's friendship, acquaintance, they're like your best friend, but you find out that you're not their best friend, and you have this weird moment where you're like, well, are we still cool? And it's like, yeah, I'm your friend, but okay. And so anyway, this is not the case because these people found love, okay? And so starting with the week 1 winners, you got Jordan and CJ. You can check this all on the top banner. The week 2 winners were Lex and Erica, which last week I did not name, and I'm sorry about that. And then the week 3 was KMB and Haley. Guys, I got to see KMB and Haley fall in love. It was pretty cool. I even crashed, I think it was their first date. Was that your first date going to the store, you guys? I know they're in here. I was like, hey, you guys go to the store? And, waited for them to be like, you can come, Chris. because KMB did it, and I was like, you scored points. I didn't know that they were even talking to each other, though. I needed to get a razor, and then KMB offered me a razor. It was great. Okay, that's playlist in a nutshell. All right, anyway, so if you have some interest in learning more about the Quarantine Cuties, check the top banner. What do the winners get from this? Well, I'll tell you, there's $1,000 grand prize for the best couple story. And I think letting me crash your first date is a good argument to say you should win. Because I don't know that you could have a better first date besides me crashing it, right? Right, okay. That's going on. And one more time, everyone, do not forget about the Meet Me Live concert series. It is exceptional. I can tell you that the talent that has been brought on, Meet Me's done such a fabulous job of reaching out, finding artists that have been affected by the coronavirus who would otherwise been performing. They have hit their goal of making donations, but keep using those mic gifts, keep spreading awareness for those affected by the pandemic. But check it out tomorrow. It's at 10 p.m. You can see the next performer. All right, on that note, let's get to the show. We've done enough blabbing with our T-Rexes and Godzilla sounds. Our first guest tonight, he downloaded Plenty of Fish, seeing how many fish were in the sea. And I didn't think of a cool end of the tagline, but I hope by this time he would have hit the join box. He goes by many names, Manu being the one that I'm looking for. That's your cue. There you go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our first guest of the night, the one, the only, Mr. Manu, the God. There he is. Ooh, they're cheering for you, Manu. They're cheering for you.
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing?
Hey, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Yourself? How you doing?
I'm doing super well. I'm doing really well.
It's just I love Manu. You know, sometimes you gotta have a little self-love in your life. You know what I mean?
That's physically like self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Manu, welcome to the show. If you can't see the box, leave and come back, everyone. By the way, during these conversations, I will not acknowledge gifts or comments except for that one. So please don't be offended if that you don't get a response. This is an interview-style show, which we're joined by Manu now. So Manu, as I mentioned, just start it hot out of the gate. You downloaded Plenty of Fish, right? That's how you got involved with all this.
Correct. I downloaded Plenty of Fish. Actually, I had it downloaded on my phone probably a couple months before I ever noticed the live feature. And it was just to kind of see, like, network with people in my area. The POF app has, they have like different events that they host in your local area where you can meet different people that's on the app. And they have like different mixers. And every now and again, I would just try to see if I can engage in that. Yeah.
Okay. So Plenty of Fish, to my understanding, is like an actual proper dating app where people can date and things like that. But they also host mixers.
Yeah, they also There's some dating on there.
Okay. That's where I take my drink of water and just like you take, yeah. Okay, but I mean, people can date, they cannot, they can network. It's like, I don't know, going to a car wash and saying, I'm just a big fan of soap, or whatever. But so Manu, you download Plenty of Fish and you find the live feature. What was the appeal of live? How were you drawn into it immediately? What's the story there?
To be honest with you, when I first ever saw it, it was December 18th. I had the app for some time. I just noticed there was like a different option there, and I clicked it, and like immediately I was just like sucked into this space. And I probably went into like 2 or 3 streams. I didn't know nothing about anything. Just randomly went in. And immediately I just kind of saw like this was a world that was like already well built. Like there was just a lot going on. Like everybody was kind of already hip to it. I was just like out the loop. And I was just like, man, but right around that time, I just had this desire to like connect with the world in a bigger space, no longer be like the introvert. So it just kind of lined up, one, two together.
That's interesting. You said no longer be an introvert. You considered yourself to be an introvert?
Oh, I very much am. My past, I was in the military for 6 years. I've done 2 combat tours. I did a tour in Iraq from 2009. I was in the service from 2007 to 2013. I was in the Navy and the Army. I did a tour in Iraq from 2009 to 2010. I was embedded as military police, doing detaining operations. And then from 2011, 2012, I did a tour in Afghanistan, combat tour, where I was embedded doing logistics support. And after I was retired out 2013, then after that, just kind of really kept to myself, just kind of two different realities, if you could say.
Yeah, what led you to such a long career in the service? Was that something that you had always wanted to do, or was there something that triggered that?
My goal is to be what we call a lifer, like someone that does 20 years and retire out. But too much combat can be a difficult thing to. There's no real on and off switch to combat. You just turn it on.
Right.
There's not a way to turn off the triggers that kind of keep you mentally sharp.
Sure. How do you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
How do you reflect on that time? There's obviously people who serve are held in very high regard and respected, but as someone who actually went through it, what was that time like for you?
No one day is like the next. Combat or just that environment is very unique. When you're downrange, one of the first things that you come to understand is that the enemy doesn't have to be good; they just have to be lucky. And luck comes on any given day. I could be aiming for you, and the grenade just kind of rolls over, and that happens. These circumstances happen all the time. I've been on convoys where guys didn't make it back, and I suffer from. I live with something called survivor's guilt. Is the idea that all get some, but some give all, and it's a very difficult thing sometimes to process as to why you made it back, but someone else didn't. So sometimes you just gotta be thankful that you're 6 feet instead of laying 6 feet. And just take advantage of the opportunity of life. And just live it. Just live it.
Those are two statements I think will be lasting takeaways for me. That concept of the enemy doesn't have to be good; they just have to be lucky. Which is the idea that, hey, we have this large military force, but it doesn't necessarily mean something if the enemy does get lucky. And as you just mentioned, whether you are making it back, which fortunately you have, or if you do, you can go through something which you just named called survivor's guilt. It's a lose-lose situation almost. So how have you overcome that? Are you still overcoming it?
That's what really led me to becoming a real introvert, not wanting to seclude myself from everyone else. I went through an extensive therapy for some time. I still do therapy now, just not as excessive. I found different ways to kind of pacify my triggers, just understanding myself and how I just move about, and different times like a 4th of July, for example. I'm inside when there's fireworks and stuff going on. I let everyone else enjoy that because the cost of freedom really isn't free. If you get what I'm saying, it comes at the expense of stuff. So this for those that have gone that and understand that. I just try to be respectful to the environment. Going forward now, one of the ways that I combat just isolation and things like that, combat depression, is stream. Streaming was something that I created. The process of streaming was to go alongside of the process of creating music. And the two would allow me to create this cycle that would, as long as I came to stream, it would force me to create new music, which would give me an audience of critique or critics. And let me know, with their help, just how well or bad I was doing. So yeah, that's why we continue to stream it. And thanks to the people that continue to come to my stream and support me, and able to,
Do you happen to have any headphones by you, by chance?
Is there feedback?
There's a bit of a sharp feedback. Otherwise, maybe the volume.
Yeah, let me see if I put my volume down. Is that better?
Yeah, I think it's
awesome.
Yep, it's a bit better now. Good. Okay, so you can you repeat that last part about music? You mentioned that.
So music is also right around the end of November, I started to. My biggest fears was just organizing my thoughts or collecting them. I had a friend of mine he inspired me to just sit down and organize my thoughts to music, just to a track. And I tried it for the first time. This was like mid to end November, and I created the first track I ever wrote. And then there was this desire to I didn't want to be some kid that was just sitting on the couch with words on a pad. So I needed a process to see how could I get this out and figure out if it was worth anything. And right around that time, POF, they added the live feature to the app, and I literally just clicked it one day. And then I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna try this. And here we are today.
What's that journey for someone like you who is self-described now introverted because of your experience? Was it easy for you to just hop in front of a camera and start telling your story, or was that something that had to develop over time?
Oh, absolutely not. To be honest with you, there's a certain part of myself that I bring to my stream. I bring my full self, but there's a certain parts of myself that I bring to the stream because I understand this is about building community. So I try not to bring too much of my past, because then that opens doors for different types of questions and things like that. So I just try to bring the artists to this platform. I don't really bring too much of my military background, or I've done public speaking on different platforms. So I try to keep all of that isolated from my actual stream. I'll speak about my life, like my experiences in combat, but for the most part, the people here just know me as an artist. There's no too much of that backstory.
If it's okay to dig a little bit deeper into that, what is it about? Is it that it's hurtful and that you're still processing it? Is that you don't want it to come off a certain way? What is it about that? Because from the outside, just hearing the tad bit that I have now, or just this little piece of it, it seems to be very inspiring that it could connect to a lot of people who either have a struggle one way in their life or another. I feel that you could have a lot of relatability for people. Do you view it differently?
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. To be perfectly honest with you, when I started streaming, I just didn't want, in my past, I've found a lot of success in many things that I've done. I've been in films, I've done TED Talks, I've given speeches for different presidents. So I've been in the outside world on many different platforms. I've toured, So I didn't want to use any of that on this space. I wanted to bring something organic and holistic to see if I decided to just invest in myself without any of the notoriety from outside, if I could find the same success. And in doing so through music, right now. So it's not something I shy away from. I've shared my link to my TED Talk on YouTube. I've showed the pictures of myself, engaging with different presidents. So it's just,
Yeah, the TED Talk piece, that's definitely interesting. What was the conversation piece that you had?
So the title of my TED Talk, I gave it about 3 years ago. You can look it up on YouTube. Why I believe that America should bring back the draft. A couple million views on there. But that's the title. Why I believe that America should bring back the draft. And I just really speak on, it's one of those, you can't judge a book by its cover. You really have to listen to it. But I speak on my experiences, serving downrange. And ultimately, at the end of it, I kind of tie out some facts that still, in a sense, traumatize the American populace, or a small demographic, the veteran community. The fact that there's so few veterans in our community, but we're a large part of the unemployment rate. The idea that how many veterans we're losing a day to suicide. At one point in time, it was like 22 veterans a day. And the third was just the healthcare system, just how long veterans were having to wait to get, healthcare appointments. So these were some of the things that I highlighted, and I emphasized the idea that if we didn't have more of an awareness to these issues, that there would be less people wanting or willing to volunteer. And if that then became the trend, then it would ultimately force us to have a draft. And in order to prevent something like a draft from happening, I think the best thing would for us to be more consciously aware of the issues that impact our veterans. And as a people, if we invest in that, then we'll have more people wanting to volunteer, which would then alleviate the issue of dress coming back into the conversation.
Yeah, that's the sign of any good TED Talk. It's going to have a little bit of some sort of provocative title, right? Or something that's going to instigate, stoke the flame, get someone to pay attention and listen. But the reason you're saying that there should be a draft is to bring more awareness that if more people, it's easy for people to dismiss something when it doesn't directly affect them or relate to them, right? And so you're saying if we can make this more of a relatable issue,
then it'll be that impacts us all.
Right. Yeah. And so that's awesome that you're able to to have that platform to discuss that. So the other thing that you mentioned was that you had met with some presidents. What was the occasion?
I was invited to an intelligence conference, and what we call 43. President George Bush Jr. was the keynote speaker, and I had the opportunity to open up for him at the event. And it was really dope. We shared the space, had a chance to kind of speak behind the scenes of just what we had as far as our own perspectives of initiatives for our country. And obviously, just getting a chance to sit down with President Bush Jr. It's pretty dope. Yeah, it was really dope. So I had a chance to open up for him. We shared some ambitions. And then, we did what we did. We rocked. I actually have a picture. Is it okay if I step off real quick? Or?
Yeah. So while you grab the photo, everyone, welcome to Suit Up. This is a show that we do every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now, we're talking with Manu, the God. He's a combat veteran, served multiple tours, been a TED Talk speaker, met with. Here's back. It's easy to fill time.
No, you got it. So this is the actual picture of when I met with.
No.
It's me at 43 right there.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, wow. Like a $500,000 smile.
He gave you the side one. I mean, could you imagine being as many photos as like someone who's a president, though? I mean, they have to I bet it's just like second nature for them just, just to hit it, right? Okay, but fast forward. You told us that it's not all about that though anymore. That you can use this platform differently. So it sounds like you've done an awesome job of spreading good, bringing awareness, having deep, meaningful conversation. But this for you has been more about music. Can you go a bit further in the types of music that you've been writing, where it's coming from, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So when music and I found each other, I never had a passion to ever do music. The most of my experience with music was I just played the saxophone growing up, kind of like middle school, elementary, middle school, high school. And right around November, just decided to organize my thoughts into a track, and then I got lost into it. I kind of came with this process. And I just found it to be very therapeutic. That alongside of like streaming and giving that content out, just created this new life experience. And I felt like for the first time, like within my personal life, like I was in the driver's seat. Like I had the ability to create something organically and gift it to the world. And for me, just understanding culture and people, having just been around the world, one thing I noticed is that one of our most innate desires as people is just to communicate or to be tribal or to feel included. And music is something, I believe it doesn't matter where you fall in the realm of culture or whatever, we all move to a beat. As long as that can move you, the message within it can sit. So I try to make music that comes from an emotional space. I call it the push-pull process. There's music that I listen to, it's just like, it kind of pushes me, like it just feels good. And there's beats I listen to, it pulls me into it. So that's my technique. I look for the beats that pull me into the music. And I sit there and I ask myself, what emotional energy am I experiencing in this? And then I try to articulate that on top of the beat.
I like that push-pull process. You said there's music that pushes you, that, gets you moving things, but there's music that pulls you into it, And I think that's kind of like the idea of like party rap or party trap rap, I don't know that anyone's ever been particularly inspired by Fetty Wap, right? Like they hear it and they're not like, this is some deep, meaningful content. But you'll move around to it. But then there's thought-provoking music, right? And so that maybe pulls you in another way. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about live then. How did you make your climb from, and this happened very quickly. In fact, when I was talking with one of the admins here, and I said, will there be Plenty of Fish top badges? And this was maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And he goes, well, there already is one, in fact. And I was like, what? Because Live had just gone live for the partnership. And I want to know, will there be Plenty of Fish top badges? And so what was that journey for you so quickly to go from, hey, I'm going to check out this live feature to now here I am representing things from the very top?
It was the shit. No, I'm just playing. Just playing. It was really dope, man. To be honest with
That's
you,
a push answer.
it was really humbling in the sense where when things first started to happen, um, I was not aware of anything. If you get what I'm saying, I was as I was moving, I wasn't aware like how fast or how slow because I wasn't on there. I didn't come on here, for those accolades that it came. I just accepted it as they came. I'm sorry, but I kept hearing different people that came to my streams. They would say things like, "Man, you're moving really fast," or just different statements that started to be like was repeated around me. And then different people started to say, "You should consider, like starting a group, and you should consider this." And like as it started to pick up momentum. And at some point, I was like, different conversations. But there was a point in time about a month and a half, 2 months into streaming on the app, where I had gotten some advice from some people like, "Hey, I don't think POF is going to do any of this. You should stop and join Meet Me." So I literally stopped streaming on POF for like a week or two, and I went to Meet Me, and like I would stream for like hours, and like 15 people would come in. And I was like, okay, this ain't gonna work. So I said, you know what? If anything, I'm just gonna stick to what works because I didn't have any like aspirations to become a top badge or anything. Actually, the first person that ever blew a bag on me was Secret Ninja. She's in my stream right now. She's been in my stream since one of the first days I started. So it was really dope, like getting to this point and like the people that have been there with me that are here now. I've seen some of my day ones. I've seen Essen here, Southern, Xenu. Like it's really dope. Team POF, win! I'm sorry, I'm used to seeing the fishes. He's not responding to the gifts, but my team POF, that's my team. Listen,
I feel like you and I have a lot in common. I feel like you and I have a lot in common where the Wednesday, we have our game face for like a Wednesday show, right? So, you're here very composed. I met some presidents, music and passion. I have my Godzilla mode, right? So I can't rap. That'd be bad if I tried. Yeah, as you reflect back though, what is it for you now? You realize now that you did move at a fast rate and you are impacting or helping others along in their streaming journey. What does that mean to you? Has that affected you in any way?
Oh, absolutely, man. I can't tell you how humbled I am for the biggest fear being literally to not wanting to be some kid sitting on a couch with words on a pad to that not to living outside of that fear by then challenging that fear and say, excuse my French bucket, I'm just gonna put my life, I'm gonna expose myself. And in that process, committing to the grind, like there were times where people would tell you, I streamed for like 36 plus hours. And they'd be like, "Man, you still on?" And I'm just like, I'm just committed to this music because I'm pouring, this is therapy for me, and this process, like no one can take it from me because it's mine. And as long as I commit to it, right? Like I'm doing everything away to stay away from my fear. So now being where I am now, I understand for me as an artist on this platform, the grind. So one of the ways that I definitely try to give back is I try my hardest to support other artists. One of the most rewarding feelings was on the 3rd of this month was my 30-day anniversary from being the first top badge on POF, or first and only top badge on POF. And on this 30-day anniversary, I was able to perform a track with an artist on here, or create a track with an artist on here called Moni. I met Moni on the app about 3 weeks ago. When I met her, I felt like she had an amazing voice. I was just invested in her voice. And this past Sunday, we actually linked up for the first time and we collaborated on a track. And it's just, we've been going through the app, just sharing it. So that's the power of this space. I actually met another streamer who produced a track for me. And Moni and I are going to be linking up this Saturday at 9 p.m. And we're going to live stream that as well. So this is going to be the second time. And our ambition, our aspiration is to release this to the world. And it has a real impact where the people that actually stream here can listen to it and touch it. So for me, there's nothing as self-rewarding as reaching back to the different artists. When I say artists, I don't care if you paint, if you dance, if you do choreography, if you produce beats, because at the end of the day, what makes a track so impactful is how much of art that can be influenced inside of it. You know, we have choreographers, we've got the producers, you know, we've got the singer, we've got the rapper, you know, we've got the people that just want to be a part of it. And that is what speaks about a community. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish. So to collaborate with two different artists from this platform within a mere 4 months, and we're going to put something out into the real world that we all can touch. For me, like, that was like 120, yo, man. You know, like, now I want to be on the couch.
I mean, would you like to share? Would you like to perform something of your own? I mean, you've been talking a lot about how passionate you are about this music, how it's shaped your live streams and created some of the community that you've developed. Would you like to do either of those?
Absolutely. If I could do a track, man, I see some people asking for different tracks. Am I allowed to do one or two? You let me know so I can decide what's the best track.
No, doing both, man. Just doing both.
Okay,
just doing
awesome.
both.
I appreciate that. So I'm gonna, if I'm gonna do the first track, which is the track I've been going around sharing, pretty much is with as many people as I can. Harley, thank you so much.
Let's not run them back to back. Like, we'll do a little bit of talking between. We can end with the next track. Mm-hmm.
So I wrote this track about a month ago. I woke up and everything inside of me just said, write to this. This track is a track that I believe is a message for the current times that's going on right now. The track is currently titled "We're Gonna Be Okay." It's a fan favorite. It's a personal favorite of mine, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. Hey, let's imagine for a second. If the people love the people, if everything was equal, our world had no illegals, this music is just a prequel. We're tired of all this evil, the people stand with the people. Why is the news so damn deceived with this lesser of two evils? If the people love the people, if everything was equal, our world had no illegals, this music is just a prequel. We're tired of all this evil, the people stand with the people. Why is our news so damn deceived with this lesser of two evils? We're gonna be okay. Hey, long as the sun comes out again. Hey, trust me that I know. Listen, just what you're going through. We're gonna be okay. Long as the sun comes out again. Hey, trust me that I know. Listen, let's talk about these present conditions. God is missing. Every day we always wishing for change. Crazy issues on our news. Now these kids are shooting schools. Where's our world headed to? Ain't got a clue. Feels like we're trapped in a matrix. This box is full of hatred. These feelings, I can't take it no more. Whether you're black or you're white, you're male or you're female, the feeling of love should be felt. Don't get caught up in all the details, cause we're gonna be okay. These things I know, cause I feel it deep down in my soul. Lose everything, glitter not gold. Love, peace, and unity written through flow. Just rapping these pictures I see in my soul. If I could change one soul, what then I suppose? This be the talent I'll never let go. What's in my head and it's love in my flows. A voice with the people we speaking in code. Take back our power, we get back control. If this is the message you feel in your soul, understand you are not standing alone. There's others our place that we fighting for home. I said, cause we're gonna be okay. Hey, long as the sun comes out. Shout out to everybody in the Chris Casper Show. We rockin', we sitting with Chris today. Hey, and it's gonna be alright. You ain't? I said cause we're gonna be okay. Long as the sun comes. Shout out to our audience, man. Listen, trust me that I know. Yeah, Chris, I said cause we're gonna be okay. These things I know, cause I feel it deep down in my soul. If my new said it and that was foretold, understand everything glitter not gold. Love, peace, and unity written through flow. Just rapping these pictures I see in my soul. If I could change one soul, well, then I suppose it be the talent I never let go. What's in my hand and it's love in my flows. A voice for the people we speaking in code. Take back our power, we get back control. If this is the message you feel in your soul, understand you when I'm standing alone. These others are place that we fighting for home. Ironically, I've never won one competition I've entered on Mimi. So,
You know, I felt when you said for these current times, right? My mind immediately went, it's gonna be negative critique, right? Like a negative critique about like what people need to do, change, blah blah blah. I love that from the delivery, the song, the messaging, everything about it was optimistic, it was positive. It acknowledged, but said, you know what? Let's have a better perspective, and I like that. It's because perspective is everything.
I appreciate that. It's a message for the people, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. That was really good. Also, your rhyme schema, right? Like it's just like that was nice. I wasn't just a repetitive type flow or style. You had a lot of finesse to it. I like that a lot. All right, so Manu, let's kind of start to wrap things up here. Then we can do that one last song. You have your top badge. You've been performing. You've been writing music. What's next for you? I mean, is it going to be continuing to collaborate and complete more music? What's the plan?
The goal now is to actually prepare ourselves to do our digital release party. I'm getting ready to relaunch my merch line. It's going to be manusworld.net. It's going to be available here soon within the next week or two. So the merch will be available. That helps to make the music, the process of creating it, the content that goes into it. Also streaming this content. Here Saturday, I'm going to be collaborating with Moni again on a track. Next week on the 15th, I'm meeting with Farah. That's another top streamer. We're collaborating with the track in Houston. There's some big producers involved in that. So I'm trying to bring as much attention as I can to the artists on Meet Me, POF, and Scout to see, just how big our community is, and hopefully do a collaboration with as many artists that has an impact that, we benefit from. Yeah, we're going to be in Houston. H-Town, baby. Maybe I can meet up with Harley and them, you feel me?
That's awesome. I love it.
Hopefully, the bigger goal would be, maybe to do something at Playlist or something. I think that'd be really fire. Didn't get a chance to go last year. I know it's all about music, so, never know.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up Playlist. I mean, it is the place.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to do like a track with several artists platform. I like Playlist. I think that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we know that there's some difficulty with favoriting right now because you're from Plenty of Fish, but there's workarounds. Drop your Instagram real quick for us. So if people want to connect with you, they like your music, can you drop your Instagram for us?
Absolutely. Go ahead and add that for right there.
Yeah, there you go. And if you can say it too, because those comments are going to move really fast. And then in the meantime, everyone, this is Manu, the God, rapping, touring extraordinaire. There you go. Oh, how easy is that? It's very easy. So just underscores with the spaces. How did you get your username, by the way?
It was just something I created. Manu is the name within the name. And the God, it's just, I believe a God is a creator, and I'm a creator of music. So then 1 and 2 makes, that.
Sometimes I think like Charlemagne. Charlemagne. You know him.
I'm gonna knock this last one. That's cool.
Yeah, this was this last one.
This was the collaboration that I did with Moni. Moni is a really dope artist that's on this platform. Again, we're gonna be meeting up on Saturday. This track is called Vibe, and it's literally just a premiere. We're premiering it here on the Suited Up with Chris show. Shout out to everybody in here. This is for y'all. I appreciate it. Let's go. Shout out to all the goats in the building, man. Hey.
I don't know if I can do this. Sometimes I just want to sit outside with someone and talk all night. We ain't gotta do nothing, just walking in the car, right? Driving anywhere, we just don't listen and catch a vibe. I'm waiting to come down so I can fuck you, baby, all night. It ain't
Shout out POF, man.
this ain't nothing right. All the time to chill tonight. I just wanna vibe. important and replace it with that places. Thinking about what life is. I don't know if I can do this. Sometimes I just wanna sit outside with someone and talk all night. We ain't gotta do nothing, just smoking in this car, right? Driving anywhere, we just gon' listen and catch up.
Manu, listen. I told her hit my phone when she feel alone. I pull up on my own. She already knows that sometimes I just wanna sit outside with someone and talk all night. We ain't gotta do nothing, just smoke in this car ride. Deep conversations, I'm talking about them talks. Me and her just relate. Her love is nothing basics when nothing can replace. Her mind is my planet and her body is my spaceship. We taking off, destination satisfaction. I'm loving her reactions. Never kiss and tell, but she tell me well. Ever since she found I knew she never been herself. Cause my vibe is something else, I just do better by myself. So tell me something else, something else, something else.
Sometimes I just wanna sit outside with someone and talk all night. We ain't gotta do nothing, just smoking in this car, right? Driving anywhere, we just gon' listen and catch up. I'm high, waiting to come down so I can fuck you, baby, all night. It ain't nothing special, don't you worry, listen, us to fight all the time we chill tonight. I just wanna vibe, smoking all night. It got me feeling so right. I can't see you in this way, but let's continue to vibe. Let's continue to vibe as the lows get high.
Listen. Yeah, we vibing, my hand gripping her thighs, and she looking into my eyes, and I tell her, Moni, you and I, the new Bonnie and Clyde, better days when we're together, which is how can last forever, 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 forever.
Someone call Keith Sweat. Does anyone know who Keith Sweat is? I don't know. Yeah, Manu, it's been great having you, dude. One more time, will you plug when you go live? If people want to catch more of you, can you let them know?
Absolutely. At the present moment, you can catch me every Monday from 7 to 9 Central Time. That's 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You catch me every Monday night for Shiggity. Outside of that, catch the GOAT when he does the most. I send a blast, and it's a blast from the past. So holla at the GOATs. We got to see us in the building. Hey, we out of there, man. You're like, what does that mean?
As a wordsmith, I don't know. Where'd it go? That was so cool. That went a little bit longer than I expected, but that was a lot of really good content. Guys, go check out his stream. That was a lot of good stuff. Harley, if you want to request that box, there she is already. All right, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much for the comments. Obviously, during these conversations, I don't acknowledge them. It's out of respect to the interviews that are going on. This is so that they can have their moment, right? It's a moment for you to understand and get to know more the people that you see floating around on Meet Me all the time. It can be difficult to have a deep personal conversation to truly understand that person. So this next guest has been around for a bit now, has made quite the impact and splash. Now, well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, the one and only Miss Harley. Harley! There we go. Okay. How you doing, Harley?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing really well. You're coming in full force tonight.
I see that.
You see that, which is so fun because when I stopped by to first talk about this with you, it felt like just a one-on-one conversation, very low key moment, just talking, yeah? and then boom, here we are, right? Yeah, excellent. So for those who haven't met you before, will you please introduce yourself, say where you're from?
My name is Harley. I'm from Houston, Texas. else.
We'd have to fly to get there. To
Yeah,
Houston.
you gotta fly.
You got to fly to Houston.
Hobby Airport would be the best place to go.
Yes. All right. So you're from Houston. You're Texan. Okay.
I am.
And your name's Harley on the app, correct? So
I am Harley on the app.
everyone knows you as Harley and loves you as Harley. Perfect. All right.
Thank
So
you.
Harley, when did you first join this whole live streaming universe?
In January. I don't remember the exact date, but it was in January.
January. Yeah. And triggered you or motivated you to start doing this?
I was actually on POF when I first came on, and came on this. I was kind of curious to see what was going on, so I kind of clicked on the live stream, and one of my friends that is on here is named Derek. He's Country Boy, and I tell him this all the time, that if it wouldn't be for him, I probably would have exited the app, because I went into his stream, I kind of hit it off with him, and then I met Liv, which is Faithful, in the comments right after that. And of course Jay. So yeah, and then I ended up changing over to Meet Me, because I tried to change my name and could not. So
Okay.
now I'm on the Meet Me side.
Okay. And what were you looking for initially when you first started out? Plenty of Fish, I gave Manu a hard time. He said networking. I said that's like going to a car wash saying that you're just a fan of soap. So what? I mean, were you looking for an interest, just companionship, friendship? What was motivating you when you first?
Companionship. I went through a divorce of 26 years. And I got on POF and thought, I'm going to just kind of seek it out and see what happens.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where it started.
A divorce of 26 years, and that was in January that it had been finalized or happened for you?
No, I filed for divorce May 2018, and my divorce was finalized May of 2019.
Wow. I can't even imagine something like that. I mean, in retrospect, a lot has happened to you since then, which is a whole new life's journey, right? But, prior to it, do you look back at starting at POF and feel like I guess the line of questioning I'm supposed to go is, the line of questioning, I'm sorry, that I meant to take here was, do you feel like it has met or beat your expectations from what you initially had gone for when you downloaded POF?
Absolutely. Honestly, when I got on POF, I was looking for companionship, but as I grew on and went on the Meet Me app, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go a different route with this, and I'm going to look for friendship and loyalty. And that's where, my mindset stayed. If I find somebody on here, great. If I don't, it is what it is. So, and I'm content with that. I'm not like trying to like hook up with somebody on here, by no means.
I like though that you subtly mentioned that you're open to it though. The reason I say that is because it's rare when I have these conversations that someone admits and they say, if I were to find someone on here, that would be something that I'm interested in.
Exactly.
So I applaud you for that, because many people don't tell me that when I talk about this. Talk about this.
I'm probably the most honest person you'll ever meet, Chris. I don't lie. I don't like a liar. I don't like a thief. And I've swore to myself when I left my ex-husband that the last thing I was going to do, because I had to lie through my marriage because of mental abuse, I swore to myself I wasn't going to do that anymore.
Wow. I don't want to focus too heavily on that, but I do think
you're good.
A good takeaway that could happen from that, which is you found a motivation. It sounds like you were a deciding factor in that, after that long of a marriage. If there's anyone out there who's even dating someone or feels like they're locked in too long to something and, it's hard to get out, what gave you the confidence, or what motivated or inspired you to say, hey, this is going to be okay. I can take a new step in my life?
I knew you were going to Knew it.
And if it's not a path you want to take, we can go ahead and shift. But I don't want the last thing I want.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't know if I'm going to answer this correctly. I don't know if I have a true, honest answer for you, but I think just kind of stepping back and taking a deep breath with everything that's gone on with my life the last couple years, kind of motivated me to get on this app and just, I don't know if I'm answering this right or not, but
Speak from the heart. It'll come out right. Just speak from the heart.
Motivated me to get on this app and see what was out there. I know it's like I tell everybody, I know there's somebody for everybody, but is there somebody for me now? I don't know. I don't know, Chris. I don't know the right answer to that. I don't know.
No, I think that is the right answer because what you just spoke has so much relatability. I think for many people at any point in their life, whether they had been married or not been married or have ever been in a relationship even, is we all ask those questions of ourselves and at the end of it all really just want to be happy. And you're putting your best foot forward to be happy, which I think is a good reason that so many people connect with you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for friendship first and foremost. Whatever happens after that, we'll see.
All right, so let's jump into it then. You started to make some friendships and develop some companionship with people on the app. Did you start that first by live streaming yourself, or were you more of a viewer?
More of a viewer. That's where I went on Derek's app, Country Boy. Yeah.
Got it. And how did that develop into you wanting to try and going live yourself?
I'm an extrovert, so I'm a very outgoing person, if you can't tell. So there's not too many people that I probably, honestly, if somebody fell over dead on the street, I'd probably talk to them, honestly, because that's just the type of person I am, asking them if they're okay. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this seems like something I could probably handle and do, not thinking about having thick skin, what would happen, who would say what, and yeah, I mean, it's been a long road since January. I've had some issues, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy I've met the people that I've met on this app. I've met some very loyal people like Liv, which is faithful on here, Jay, that's helped me get where I'm going. Yeah.
Well, we can dive a little bit more into the app and what you do on it in just a moment, but I know that you have other talents and things that you do outside of it, which is photography. Photography is something that you're talented in. So when did you start this photography journey?
I started it in 2008.
2008. And what inspired you to do that?
My kids were growing up. So, instead of taking them to a photographer, I thought, I'm going to try and just kind of dabble with it a little bit and see what happens. And my ex-husband bought me a little small Kodak camera. And I started taking pictures of my daughter, of course, because my daughter, females, they like to be in front of a camera. My son, of course, did not. So, and then she started getting into competitive cheerleading, and I decided, hey, I wanted to go a little bit further with it. So he bought me a Canon camera. And from there, I kind of took off. And yeah, I mean, who would have ever thought that I would be doing what I am today? So, yeah. And
what is that? Can you, for the people who don't know, can you dive a little further into it?
I specialize in high school senior photography, but I do weddings, I do newborns, family, I do, just about everything you can do in photography, any kind of session. I actually have my book because I thought you were going to ask me about that, Chris. I don't know what made me think you were going to ask, but I'll just show you one of my portraits that I'm pretty proud of, and it's this one.
Oh, wow. That's very nice. Is that a senior photo?
It is a high school senior. I do I do strobe lighting. So a lot of photographers use natural lighting. There's very few that use strobe lighting. I use both. So I'm self-taught in the photography part. Photoshop, I went to college for.
You went to college for Photoshop.
I did.
So you were in what is the non-traditional student, non-traditional student.
Right.
What was your experience like returning to college after, X amount of time?
It was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. I felt very out of place a little bit, but when I have a mindset of something that I love to do, I go full force with it. So I didn't let anything stop me. I went in and just, in fact, one of my instructors at the college become one of my best friends here in real life. And so she and I, after I finished the college courses, she and I got together, and now she works for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she works for you. The student has become the employer.
Yes.
not even just the teacher, the employer. I love it.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about that. I mean, 2008 is relatively not that long ago.
No.
Before photography, what were you doing?
I was a housewife.
So
I was a housewife.
So you carved your own professional path by just having a passion and starting your own business.
Right. My ex-husband, when he bought the camera for me, he told everybody, he said, I really honestly didn't think that she would pick it up and take it as far as she did. He was actually, he would talk about it all the time and say, I would have never dreamt that she would have taken photography this far. Because some people, when they go in and they do something, it's kind of a spur of the moment. You love it, and then you think, you move on to something else. And that's kind of where it was with me for a long time, and didn't really know what I wanted to do, because I was always a housewife. So having kids, I decided I wanted to kind of experiment with my kids and go into photography with it, and it's been a blessing.
And so this is what you do full time now too, is photography, correct? Mm-hmm. With people who you employ. And so this is honestly a great story of confidence building and self-initiative. I mean, from a place where you, and again, we won't get too far into it, but you said a place from mental abuse where I'm going to just guess and assume you kind of felt stuck and you didn't have an outlet. And so that's wonderful that you were able to build that for yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was married twice, so I'll let you dig a little bit as you want to, but
share whatever you feel most comfortable with. The point of these conversations for me, when I first started doing all this, was people see streamers on a camera and they see the gifts or they see the things that are happening, and it can be difficult to truly understand what's going on or even what brought them to the stream. Right. And this is a way to humanize them outside of just that 2 hours, 3 hours that you may see them. Because each person who comes to this has a real background and a real reason that they initially did it. And the more that we can humanize people and the more that we can relate to them and connect with them, I think it brings the most value and builds relationships, which is what I'm about when it comes to doing this. So yeah, I mean, whatever you want to share.
I was married to someone from Venezuela. I got married at the age of 19. Actually, I was 18 going on 19. I had my son. My son was born in Venezuela. He's half Venezuelan. I was mentally and physically abused. I had to contact the American Embassy, and they had to get me out of Venezuela because he almost killed me several times. I am against, I don't care if it's a man or a woman putting their hands on each other. I'm against it. I don't think anybody needs to have to go through that. I ended up leaving Venezuela, and they told me never to look back because my ex-husband always told me, if you ever leave me, I'm going to come and get my son and you're never going to see him again. So I never looked back. He didn't know my son. My son got to know him when he was a freshman in high school.
Wow.
And so I got remarried at the age of 22. And that's the one I was married to for 26 years. My first marriage only lasted 3 years. My second marriage lasted 26 years. We're both Aquarius. We're both very stubborn people. I don't have really too many things to say bad about him because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, with that being said, I think sometimes people want to control and think it's okay. And the one thing that has stuck in my mind, and it'll probably stick in my mind for the rest of my life, is that he told me one time that he could fix anything, but he can't fix me. You can't fix something that's not broke. So don't try to repair something that's not broke. So don't try to change somebody because you think you want them to be somebody else, because it's never going to work out. So he was a narcissist. And the little things that most people take for granted, I don't. Like the little Nest programs that you put in your homes. He actually put a passcode. He put it in our house and put a passcode on it to where I couldn't control the AC or the heating. I would wake up with a spray bottle being sprayed in the mornings. He physically abused me, but he mentally abused me. So, am I tainted? Yes, I am. That's why I say I don't know if I'm good for anybody anymore. Maybe one day. I am totally against bullying. I'm totally against any man, any woman putting their hands or even controlling a woman or a man. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's right. And if I see somebody out there that's going through it, I try to walk them through it, try to help them the best that I can.
Mm-hmm. And this all bleeds into what you discuss in how you conduct your live stream. So I normally ask the question, what can someone expect out of visiting your live stream? And what content do you provide? And I think you're touching on it right now, which is that you consider yourself to be a bit of a support network, a place of support, correct?
Right. There's three things when I first started streaming that I do not go into, and that's politics. I do not go into racial. I don't keep it out of my stream. And if somebody's their preference of lifestyles, I don't allow it. Don't want it in my stream. I'm a woman of God. I believe in God very much, and I don't judge anybody by their cover. So I try to look at everybody and show them respect. And I would hope that everybody would show each other respect. At least that's what I would hope and pray for. Mm. And that's the bullying. I went through some bullying. I don't know if you're going to go there. I went through some bullying. I'm not even going to, but I am against it. I hope that people on this app will learn from that, stay away from it, and just support one another on here. Mm-hmm.
I do think there is something that you can share, or would be beneficial to share, though, which is at the end of it, how do you process it and keep the motivation to do it? Because unfortunately, with the internet, there are many voices, and sometimes the negative ones are able to speak louder than the positive ones. What motivated you? What kept you to push and want to continue to stream and be a part of the live streaming community?
I think with being on streaming, I think anybody on here knows and can say this, you have to have very thick skin to stream. You can't let things get to you. And I'm one of those people that I don't. Listen, if my ex-husband can't take me down, live streaming is not going to take me down.
Sure. Not enough said there, right? Enough said there. And what's the future hold for you in live streaming? Is this, you spend a good deal of time now. I mean, this has now become part of your life, as it does with many people who are in the community. So where do you see this taking it? Where would you like to take it? What would you like to happen from all of this?
I would love to be a top badge. I would love to be able to help people learn to be a top badge, to succeed into getting where they want to be on here. I think that being a support group is a huge issue on here. I see a lot of good people on here, and I follow through with watching them and trying to learn. And I'm hoping to be that person that people can look up to and say, Harley, how did you do it through it, because I get a lot of people coming over to me daily and saying how they're getting bullied and stuff. Listen, the one thing I have learned is, and I think Meet Me can agree, is there's a ban button and you have a red button to put people in. Ban them, get them out of there. Just keep doing you, keep going strong, and that's what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing for the top badge and hoping that, I know I've done some mistakes on here. I'm learning from them. I got banned for 7 days for some things that I said. It is what it is. Did I mean it? Do I regret it? Yes, I do. But when you're pushed in a corner and you have nowhere else to go, sometimes being a mental and physically abused woman will cause you to go off on things like that. Okay? So.
Well, I will say, when I asked you, I said, hey, I noticed you can't get into your account. Is everything okay? And you said, yeah, I did some things. And I said, okay, was it an accident? You go, no, I made a mistake. And that was it. You just left it at that. I didn't dig pry into it. Don't really care because you owned it. And so, that's important, right? So I appreciate that. So Harley, before we wrap up our conversation today, is there anything else that you'd like to share, go over, discuss that's important or you feel would add value to the people who are watching?
Not really, but yes, yeah, I'm just silly as hell, and I can't help it. Okay, I'm trying to be me, but I'm in the spotlight of Jim B in this stream, and I'm seeing him comment something. I'm like, oh my god. But I would just say, guys, if streaming is what you want to do, if you want to become a VIP or a top badge, I say go for it. Don't let anybody push you and stop you from what you want to do. We all know life is hard. We all know that things can get in our way. But it's like I tell everybody that comes in here, not everybody is an extrovert. Some people are introverts. And if you're an introvert and you want to stream, go for it. If they tell you to stab yourself, tell them to get out and block them. Because I've heard them do that. And they came into my stream telling me that. Guys, don't listen to it. Just move forward, keep doing you, and make this a great place to be. Because we all know this is addicting, and we love to be here.
Hurrah! I like it. Harley, when you go live, if people want to come get to know you more and would like to talk with you or learn more about you, when can they find you?
Pretty much in the evenings, usually late afternoons, early evenings, and I stay on pretty late every day. If I went looking through to see how long I stayed on here, usually anywhere from 5 to 6 hours.
Wow, my phone's on 2%.
Break.
Oh, now it's on 1.
Just get away, and maybe one day. But right now, while we have the coronavirus going on and we can't do anything, go anywhere, I'm here all the time.
There is something that just came top of mind that I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about, just for a moment, which is the idea of being a VIP.
Plug that shit to the Xbox, right?
Because many people take it different ways, and the effect of it they have. I'm interested to know what your experience has been as a VIP, and what your perspective is.
Somebody came in the other night to my stream and said VIPs run this place. I said no, they don't. If it wasn't for one or the other, it doesn't matter if it's top badge or somebody that's just starting. You know as well as I do, if they weren't in here, this would not be going. So I disagree with that. Now, the VIPs do put a lot of money into this stream, and I have, but I think that do I regret doing any of it? No, I don't. I just think that, everybody, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I just went blank. But,
in a good direction.
I try to be humble. I don't let the VIP badge get to me. The reason I ended up getting a VIP badge was because I was being bullied on this app. My name was getting torn apart on this app. I am one of a few people on this app that can defend themselves and make that right. I actually spent the money on this app to prove them I was not a diamond whore. Okay? So that's the reason I continued to stay as a VIP, because my name got drugged. People called me a diamond whore, and all kinds of stuff. And I was a purple VIP, and I just exploded on this app as a black VIP badge.
I didn't know that part of the story, but definitely liked the first part of it, which is why I asked the question, which was in defense of you and the VIP program and things like that, is that while, yes, you contribute much to the app, it's every person, from the comment that they make, the difference that your insight and the things that you share can make in their lives. That's why I ask it, because just no matter the status, which I knew that was your perspective and feeling on it, is that no matter whether someone's spending a high amount, a little amount, never have, planning to, simply being part of the conversation, listening, those types of things are intangible. And as cheesy as this is about to say, come off, that's a real VIP thing to do. To come to someone's live or be a part of literally their life, right? That adds a lot of value. And so thanks for sharing that as well. Okay.
You're welcome.
Harley, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I had a wonderful time getting to know you more, and I hope you continue to have a lot of fun cutting things up. Maybe find lucky number 3. Third time's the charm, right?
Chris, thank you for having me. It was an honor. It was truly an honor. I was nervous as hell tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know what to expect in here. I've watched your show a couple times, and I didn't really know what to expect on what you were going to ask me. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I am truly honored to be here. Thank you for having me. I look forward to getting to know more people on this app.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, no, I get that feedback a lot. Of people go, I'm nervous to do this, but I promise you, it's as easy as talking to somebody on the phone. So, all right. Well, much love, Harley. Thank you so much for being on and doing this.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you so much.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. We've got one more tonight. We've had some wonderful conversations so far with Manu the God, who cut it up with his raps. We just had Harley, who put it how it is for her, right? Put it how it is. Now, our last guest tonight is someone who's been on the show before, and I made him make a case as to why he should come back on. And actually, I didn't even realize the person I interviewed before was a completely different person. They were a VIP. They were a VIP, and this person's a top badge. They're obviously different. They're different people. But this guy sent me a long laundry list of reasons why he should come back. And I had to agree with them. Not only because I needed to have everyone compare our hair. Much love, everyone. Please welcome to the show, the one and only, the legendary man with the best green screen on Meet Me, Miami.
I don't know if I like that introduction, Chris. Something fair. You put me in the negative light. Feel like I'm coming from behind here. I don't
Was that not a good enough build-up for you? You can't even hear him.
Interviews take
All right.
Like, I have a bedtime in 10 minutes.
You know what? Truthfully, I told him I didn't know. All right, that was it, you guys. You just had to see him in the box. You got to see his green screen. You got to see his hair. That was good. No, it was good. It was a good interview. It was a good interview. It was good. Hey. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy how that happens, right? No.
So this was a mutual agreement.
It was a mutual agreement. And I'm pulling up what we have, honestly. So Miami, while I'm buying time installing, you've done this before.
What's up?
Yeah.
When did you let me know I was going to be on your show?
A lot. Well, to be fair, I've been telling people for the past week that you're going to be on.
Oh, me. 12 hours?
And I told you 2 weeks ago that you would be on, but I confirmed it last night. So that's fine.
12 hours ago, Chris. That's
Well, yeah, last night, 12 hours ago.
last minute. I'm sorry.
One of those two. Okay, so I'm going to use what you wrote me. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this wonderful list of reasons. Look at this. This is fantastic. That's an articulate gentleman.
Job for him. So
I'm sorry? What?
did the job for you.
You did the job for me. Right. Let's go ahead and go for it. So you basically did my job for me, like you just said. And I want to go through almost numerically of what you had. Why we're doing this is you have a unique perspective from being a longtime VIP, now being a longtime top badge, been in the community, I would say very integrated, and also taking a time to step back. And I feel like you've had almost every vantage point of what the life cycle of being a streamer on here can be. And so let's just go ahead and start out there with that initial question, which you posed to me, which was life on the app as a top badge versus a VIP.
Well, first of all, you put that. I was not as eloquent as Chris was right there. It's probably why you have your show. But yeah, no, I just found it interesting because the fact that, I mean, how long have you been on the app? Over a year, right?
So it'll be 2 years in September.
Okay, but nonetheless, your show was about a year ago. Trina, I see you. So I thought
You were about a year.
I love attention, as most people who stream do. That's the top badges. I think it's hard to find someone who doesn't. And I was like, yo, put me on your show again. Because I have a lot of fun talking to you, even though you won't.
Do you have headphones?
On battles. So that's really why I requested it. But I did find it interesting how in just a short time, this app has changed. Or maybe my perspective has changed. Going from a VIP, I know, no headphones, I'm sorry about that. Going from a VIP.
Do you have any headphones or anything like that to connect? Because this is going to be a lot of dialogue, and I would like to make sure people can hear it.
I can hear you great. I can find some. Can you like tap dance for a second?
Yeah, I'll just kill some time. All right, so for those of you who haven't met Miami, I'll kind of run through our first conversation that we had together, because this isn't going to follow the normal template of, hi, nice to meet you, tell us where you're from, what did you do? Miami's a former bartender from California who moved to Florida and is arguably one of the most witty and sarcastic gentlemen on the app. He was a former VIP, now top badge, who is great at making a case for himself. And now he does taxes sometimes. Okay, about summarizes our first conversation.
Yeah, I didn't realize my life was so simplistic and uncomplicated. You put me in a nutshell. I'm in a box.
No, I mean, it was like not a nutshell. It was the short. It was the short.
You should write LinkedIn bios, because that was, yeah.
I do. You know I'm a professional recruiter, right? Like that's like my real job.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You really put me in a box. I thought I wrote out some things that were like unique about me, and fuck that. Like, yeah. You got it.
It's fine.
You put a 45-minute interview about me in about 2 sentences. Like, why couldn't you do that the last 2 interviews?
Those are the main takeaways.
Just bullet point who the fuck I am. I'm sorry. Continue.
Back to the question. Okay. So life on the app as a top badge versus a VIP. You started to preface it by saying you've seen things change from your eyes dramatically over the past year.
Well, to be fair, I noticed my behavior on the app has also changed. So it's hard to say that just because a change in VIP, like status, if you will, dictates a change I've also seen on the app. I just felt like when I was a VIP, first of all, it was a little more, I think there were only like a handful. It was just the green VIPs. So you definitely got a lot more gold diggers or people looking for you to gift because, you're a meal ticket. I think also people didn't really know me that well. So they had this image, they saw the background. I was a heavy gifter, and they assumed, I started streaming. They're like, oh, this has got to be some like party boy reading the rich life and just singing, just doing whatever the fuck he wants. But I think that people kind of like a year later now realize I'm a lot more, I don't know, more relatable. And I've just seen, it's interesting how many top badges in the top like 25, my relationship has changed with them since being like a top badge. And not to kind of, yeah, well, I mean, but it's also, this app is a microcosm of the real world, because if you're gifting, if you're, definitely a source of gifts or AKA income, you definitely draw more attention. It doesn't matter what the role is. And I'm not trying to say that that's, like a slight in any way to the app, but it's definitely a real psychological dynamic that if you gift heavy, people pay more attention and they want your attention more. And when you kind of lose that over the years, you kind of realize, not that I'm at a lack of it for attention, but you realize who is more aware about when you stream and who's in your lives more. And it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. That touches into, and I don't know, for me sitting in this seat is controversial for me to say, but we've talked about it, which is gifting as content, or gifting as content for a streamer, and how it's an unsustainable model.
Big time.
And
well, it is. You see it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to trample your question, but it is. I might take some heat for this, but it's not a unique thing to say that a lot of the main top gifters, when you go to their streams, I mean, no one can talk for endless amounts of time, and the majority of their stream is just getting gifts. Hey, thanks for the crown. And gifting battles, which I get it. It gives people an opportunity to participate more than like holding the hearts. No one really knows or cares about that feature of the app anymore. And the more you gift, the more you get recognized. And that seems to be the content that most streamers kind of rely on. There's a few exceptions, you being one of them. With, you have your interviews, but also I go to your lives and I see like you talk to people, you have these battle challenges. You're constantly gabbing, create content. And you very rarely just go back over the same old shit. And I feel like the gifting has really taken precedence in the app, especially since when I've started. So it's almost like the business model is starting to really show itself more than the social perspective model of this app, which is to meet people and whatnot. Not to say that's good or bad. It's a public company. What do you expect? As a shareholder myself, yeah, like get the gold. But it's starting to become more abundantly apparent that no one really gives a fuck about making new connections. No one is given a reason why they want to be a top.
I would say that's a stretch. I would say that is a stretch. We just had Harley on. I would argue that's a stretch.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Let me say this. I'm going to follow up because I spent a little bit of time here. Thank you, Star, for all the kisses. This is sabotage. I can't even get my words out. Okay. So what I want to say, okay. I've known a lot of people that had really heartwarming stories before they got their badge. They had dedicated reasons to why they want to be a top badge. And then they get the top badge. I'm like, where's that focus, that dedication to why you wanted to be it? Again, there are exceptions. Actually, Manu is one of them. He still continues to do what he's doing. You're another one. But it's like, how quickly you lose focus of why you wanted the badge. It's like that drops off. Like, I question people's motive.
Okay. Well, I would say that it also plays into the level.
Jim B, fake news.
I would say it also plays into who a person is off of the app as well, and their ability to vision board or put aspirations and put them into motion.
True.
And I would say that that's a tall order for many people to continually want to challenge or
everybody
reach for a bar that's set higher than what they've seen achievable, right? And so this all leads into the next question that you had put up, which was why you chose to be a top badge over VIP.
Well, because it's harder to get. It's a more reputable designation. A VIP, first of all, I was very fortunate to get either. you were the one that you recommended me for a top badge, and I got it. So no one needs to be recommended to be a VIP. There's a price tag on it, and it's set. It's well known. Anyone who's got the money can get it. It doesn't really matter about the character or quality of you as a person or a streamer. It's irrelevant. And on an app like this, having a top badge, not anyone can get it. And initially, I didn't really believe that, but I've seen so many people that I think are quality streamers not get it and have a hard time getting it. And so I guess you could say that over a year, I've started to appreciate, for lack of a better word, the prestige that this internet accolade has, because it really says that, hey, these people are, and I mean like the admin team and the community, they've kind of revamped themselves. As we all remember, there's been a shift and change in like the talent development area, and you can kind of see how they're being a lot more selective. And for you to kind of have a top badge, it's not about, okay, 1 million diamonds, 5,000 favorites, just stream a lot. Like, I'm starting to see that they're becoming a lot more selective, and so you appreciate it a lot more. So it's to me, that's an easy choice. You always want the accolade, the designation. That's harder to come by.
I will say that I believe that now more than ever, having a top badge is held in a different type of regard. I say that news on Meet Me has an 8-hour life cycle, but in the distant, long-term future, long ago future, there were the opposite conversations where people said there's too many top badges, etc. Blah 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 blah. When in honest reality, there were maybe 250 at the highest point ever. Now I think they're sitting at like 200-ish out of hundreds of thousands of daily users. But to that
point, on a numeric scale, yeah, it's like, well, I mean, there weren't that many. But it was the ones that would stream the most with the least amount of content. So really the top badge was getting, like, the whole designation was getting a bad kind of air to it, because you have a bunch of people just sitting on their phones, staring at the computer all day before the pandemic. So it's like, what are you doing? You're literally a no content streamer. And a great way to, thank you for the doc. The great way you could tell that people were, like, there was a shift, is you had top badges literally frantic, like, oh my God, I don't know what content is. What do they mean good content? It's so ambiguous. I don't understand. But it's like, if you don't understand, you shouldn't be a top badge. To me, that's like, if you're basically a brand ambassador for this app, people are tuning into who you are and what you're doing. You just need to be entertaining. It's a simple concept. You get it, and you should be a top badge. If you don't, you're one of the people that should have it taken away. And there was that turbulent period where people are like, oh my God, he's been on for so long, 2+ years, 13 million diamonds. It's like, yeah, but no disrespect to whoever this is, it's not entertaining. You turn your camera on, and you stare at it. You just got to the app before anyone else. And they realize that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to stay very neutral.
It's an opinion. It's a perspective. Right.
It's my opinion. I'll stay very neutral. Because I don't want a phone call after this to be like, did you know Miami was going to say all these things? No, I didn't.
No.
I had a template. I'm fortunate you're well liked by some certain people. Otherwise, this could be very bad for me.
Well, right. We'll preface this. I want to. Can I say something positive? Because I don't mean to be Mr. Like,
please. That
awesome.
would be a good direction.
No. Everything that I said was in the app has cleaned itself up. It's perfecting the way it does things. This is a new kind of concept. So naturally there's like a growing period, and it's doing that. So back to our whole conversation of like when I first started to now, they've definitely made a lot of improvements and been a lot more scrupulous towards this. That's why certain people aren't top badges anymore. So this all plays into, I get it. I'm fuck off, Tattered, whoever you are. I'm just now. I'm trying to read the comment.
I wasn't quite sure where you're going with that. And so, which is the public image conversation that you were saying. I'll make a comment on that. I think that that has been one of the major transformations and something that they've been very intentional about, which is making sure people understand what type of content is valued on here and what type of presentation and image is valued. Even from how profile pictures strictly enforced. I mean, there were some complaints about a year ago in July. People were like, why am I getting taken down? Why is this happening? I would say that.
How do you ignore that?
I feel.
How do you ignore that gift?
It is a loud one. It is a loud one.
It's a lot of, yeah. Can we work on that, Jim? Thomas?
This is I think something now. Way to make sure things look good. That, my grandma, my mom, they come in, they watch this, and I don't think they think anything too crazy, right? It's just like, hey, there's that dude smiling.
If I'd known that, I would have tailored my act if I knew they were watching. I apologize.
Oh, for my mom and my grandma? Okay. This is also part of the reason you were last. This is much more of a personal conversation, I think, one-to-one.
They probably went to sleep. They're probably not watching anymore.
People are asleep, yeah. You mentioned this along with the top badge conversation that you get asked numerous times what someone has to do to be a top badge, and what is your two cents? Yeah. So what does someone have to do to be a top badge in your
So, and I really do think that the Meet Me admin crew could do a better job at kind of explaining this. We all know there's that requirement, the 5,000 streamers, the $1 million diamonds, that basic requirement just to apply. But it's like people forget to realize this is a company, and of course they need some kind of criteria just to drop it down because they get so many people that apply. But it's bigger than that. You shouldn't be so dependent on just a basic requirement and then you become a top badge. Like, they really want talent. Not to say I'm that. I like to think I at least offer something a little bit different, and that's what they're looking for. If not different, entertaining. If you don't know what that is, then figure it out. Test it out. It's just, you, for instance, you offer something different. Holly offers something different. Thank you for the dice. Even Turk. And I used to give Turk a ton of shit, but he's people change throughout the app. And they want someone entertaining, someone that offers something different. Stuff. Oh yeah, Renee's not my biggest fan. She won't even acknowledge me. I'm surprised she's here. But they want something that's going to grab people's attention. And if you're just like everybody else, how is that going to grab someone else's attention? And in this day and age, when the apps are really becoming prominent and popular, almost a new age of socializing with the quarantine, it's like you really got to bring it.
I call it viewer retention. What do you do that offers a retention value to someone who comes and joins your live stream? Are you doing something that if someone were to miss it, they would have a feeling of that they had lost out or not been a part of something? That's where
your introduction kind of segued into this a little bit. I thank you for it. You said I offered perspectives from almost every angle of the app. And I think that's fair to say. And it's very easy to get caught up in your own prestige or presence on an app like this. And I pride myself on just like everybody else, we're all doing the same thing. And I feel like sometimes people's true intentions get lost in the pursuit of clout, which is a word I just learned using this app, especially with the diamonds. And I think it's not being brought to enough attention. Again, that might not be good for business, but I think it's a true reality. And especially from a psychological standpoint, I think sometimes people need to take a step back and realize, why did you download this app in the first place? This is why we all stream. This is the true reason. I think it's very easy for people to lose sight of that when the race for popularity and aka quote unquote power or diamonds comes into play.
Okay.
Matt.
Yeah, this is a long one. Oh,
I can't believe you're actually going through these questions.
I am, because one of the questions here was a fun one, but no, the continuation on that was my 2 cents of how to.
Yeah, I want to hear
a top badge. I believe that if you exist as a silo, you are doomed. You are doomed almost to not top badge it, because it really takes a community and an involvement with the other live streams. I think, at least that's the only way I know how to function. But for me, my 2 cents would be try and develop and get an idea of what viewer retention is. How do you provide or do something with relatability that people feel a desire to stay in your live stream once they join, not just come in and say hello, leave, goodbye? Is there a conversation topic that will be controversial, or that someone will want to be unexpected that happens frequently? Like, I know it's a contradictory statement, but do you have unexpected happen expectedly? Those types of things, which are hard to capture, which I think exemplifies the people who do just streaming and are top streaming and the most notable of the streamers. And I mean, I would be hard pressed to say who specifically are those people, but each person does it in their own way.
Right.
The last thing I'll say about it, which is content is subjective. And what one person views as content isn't necessarily the same to someone else. Someone on here, the most fulfillment out of having one really good relationship with one person on here and then having everyone else in the live stream. Maybe one person omits that they have present.
But we're dealing with the masses. There is a metric that has to be used, whether it be viewership, diamonds, time on the app. We quantify it somehow. That's why we have our goals as top badges, because in their eyes, an 80K diamond goal represents to them that you can maintain that. So it's subjective in the sense that anyone can dictate what content is. It's not subjective in the fact that they have a criteria. You have a criteria that's no longer subjective. They have it. We don't really know what it is. We have numbers to it. But, it's difficult because I became a top badge before they had any of these goals or requirements, to my knowledge. But like my whole shtick was that I'm very sarcastic. I say things that, aren't really maybe sometimes popular or expected. And also, I don't play into the whole diamond gifting thing, which is a huge motivation for people to stream, and rightfully so. I'm not doubting that. But having this 80K requirement undermines my platform completely. So it's like I'm in a box. Like, so do I want to keep being someone that trends because now I have to meet a requirement? When really what's unique about me is that I'm saying, like, I literally don't. It's not about the gifts. I just like to stream because I like to stream.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting trade-off, because I feel like it kills your authenticity, and it kills, how genuine you are when everyone knows in the back of their mind, you as a streamer are trying to reach a certain monetary goal.
That's true. Which to that, I'd also say is it plays right back into this is a business. And I'm very unapologetic when people say, you do this for diamonds. And I say, I do to an extent. Yes, absolutely. I have to. And I understand why. Because you like the features on the site. You like the innovation.
Here's what's different, Chris. I'm interrupting you only because I want to give you a compliment.
No.
You don't come off that.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
No. What I'm saying, and I do mean this sincerely, you don't come off that way, which is a huge draw. Because if you did, no one would be in your fucking stream. So you really for you to say that, you don't come off as someone that's trying to stream for diamonds. You genuinely have content, even when you don't intend to. Even when it's not your show. So to that extent, I'd say I think it's emblematic. More people should adopt that kind of mindset. Hide it as best you can.
I don't have any comment on it. I don't.
Boom. Game over.
It's like this. It's like this. If you work a sales job, for example, sales job, okay, you're employed to make sales for a company, and you are paid a commission on that. Every streamer on here is, in a way, earning commissions. Their gifts are part of the content, right? And the top badge says to me, it's like the equivalent of staying at the job. A lot of people confuse being top badge, because when they background check you, for any top badges out there who put on your LinkedIn that you are at Meet Me, don't do that. It's not going to work out well for you. Don't. Because it's not going to show up in a background check. They're going to say, what do you mean? You're going to have a lot of questions. Don't do that, okay? It's not an employment. You're not employed as a top badge. You're not employed as a streamer, okay? It's not employment.
It's really funny. You're an independent contractor. You're like a streamer. Don't You get
try
see.
that. But what I'll say about that is the top badge is equivalent of Meet Me saying, hey, you get to stay in this place of business, right? Because no one's going to just let
It's
you
like a
ride
strip
out.
club.
God,
No one wants an ugly
not-
stripper.
It's not like
It's a great analogy.
moving on.
But you get a 1099 just like a stripper.
So anyway,
Or
moving on to the next
contractor.
one. No, don't stop. You're being a bad example right now. No,
It's the only reason why I have a badge, just because I say unpopular shit.
No disrespect. In the words of Wyclef Jean, just because she dance go, don't make her a hoe. No.
Leave her a hoe, no.
Something about French fries. He said something about French fries too. Highest bidder
I feel
for French
that.
fries. No,
It's gonna be my new bio.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. Off the rails. This is a horrible example of what the show is meant to be about.
Dude, people went to sleep 40 minutes ago. After the second interview, people just passed out.
This
No
is-
one's even listening right now.
Well, we've got a whopping
We're good.
12
We're
minutes
good.
tops that we'll keep doing this, and it's hard cut. It's hard cut done. Okay, so discussion
How
of the
dare
future.
you? How dare you, sir?
Yeah, discussion of the future. This is exciting. You truly believe that the quarantine has presented a glimpse into the future as to the role streaming will play in everyday social life? That's an interesting topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of thought that's the way it would be, but I thought it would be more of like our kids or our kids' kids. This quarantine kind of sped that up. And we're seeing it by the Meet Group adopting, or I should say absorbing other companies, especially in the dating realm. And we're already seeing it now. We're already seeing an influx of new people to this app like you couldn't believe. And just read their 10K. I mean, yeah, their earnings might have been a little bit down in their call this morning, but everyone's is down. I think they're going to have a huge second quarter, and I just think the app it's crazy. We're starting to see. Here's a crazy thing. When I first joined, let me use a random top streamer in her diamonds. She had like 14 million diamonds. I'm not going to say her name. So, and I had at the time about 4, maybe 5. And I've just seen her just exasperate to like the 80s. And you're starting to see people in the 90s and 100 million plus diamonds. You're seeing people get diamonds at a ridiculous rate, more so than you did when I first joined, which is only a year ago now. There's only one reason for that. It's like in the last few months, if you look at the biggest climbs, and I think a lot of it is also a testament to the marketing and the contests that Meet Me is developing. They're continually updating the groups of people, and they're getting smarter and wiser. You can tell with all the surveys, they're paying more attention to their market and the things that drive it. And so, yeah, it's like this is a glimpse to the future, especially now, especially in Western society. When, like, the more money you accumulate, the more private you get. And when you become private, you still have that social need, you could say. And so you go right to your phone. Everyone's got their face in their phone. This is the way of the future. Jim B, I know you agree.
I mean, I firmly invest in this. I've said so many times that stop. No, I've said so many times that this is an early adopter phase. I firmly believe that live streaming and content
It is that no one saw coming. This is a gold rush phase. Like, holy
I
shit,
truly
it's happening this quickly.
people think
Yeah,
cannabis.
you no longer need to tell investors this is the future, because it's now here by, some misfortune of a disease, but it's like it's here now.
The interesting is when life is able to go back to normal. What is the retention? How many people still want to do this? How many people invest as much? How many people go out and tell more people about it? That's something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Thank you, but I have I don't see people leaving the app that quickly, because it's very addicting in every sense, just like checking Facebook notifications. Now, at the same time, I do think there's a time clock for Meet Me. They need to come up with enough almost addictive features of this app before we get back to normal, which really I don't think is going to be for a long, long time. I think the news, overemphasizes the optimism if we're going to go back to normal, but let's be real. But when that does happen, I think Meet Me needs to have enough things in place that when reality does hit, do you have enough people connected for the same reasons as like when we first started?
Sure. I don't think human connection is something that ever goes out of style. That's the thing that I'm fully bought into.
But it's this whole dynamic online that's making it more appealing. People are more connected with strangers than they know. The truth is, we don't really even know half the people we communicate with. We just know their users' names and we know their regularity. We don't really know anything about them. If I pick out a random user in your chat, so who are they? What's their family like? What do they do? You won't know 90% of them. And that's on like a high level, but that's enough for us. And that's something you can't get away with in the real world. But yet it fills that need of like social connection that we all, innately crave.
Sure. Closing out. Let's see what we have.
I could just exit the chat, and you don't need to do like an awkward
No.
session.
So new advice new advice after 1 year of involvement. So are you already touching on it, or is that where we're at?
So, and I actually get messages a lot, which I'm actually really surprised because I haven't been as active as I should be, and I'm very aware of that, as I think a top ad should be. But it's like, I think people try to mimic too much of like what the top badges on here today are doing, and you don't see too much creativity. And it's sad because those that are really trying to be creative aren't really getting the attention they deserve, whether it be musicians, artists, whatnot. But you see too many people adopting the ways of the top already, and that's not going to set you apart. You have to be different. If you can't figure that out, then hit the books, study more people. I don't know. Figure out like what's going to make you different. If you don't know, fake it. Create something that doesn't exist already. And because this is really becoming more of like a TV show-esque thing. It's like anyone trying to go get their TV show. Any network would tell you, well, we don't want something that already exists. If you're doing like a remake of Family Guy or King of Queens or some basic show that already exists, why would we want you? We want something that gets a new crowd, something that's different. So it's like, stop thinking that the diamonds and the favorites are the requirement. It really is about content. This is a business. They want somebody that's going to like last and operate under the dynamic, bring in a new market. So not to be cliche, not to be yourself, because yourself might be boring. Just be different. That's the takeaway. If you want to be a top edge, be different in an entertaining way. I can't tell you how to be a good streamer, Jen.
Yes, good. That's good.
Would you disagree with anything that I said?
No, I don't. When I talk with people about this, there's I think there's an emphasis that they do put on about how many diamonds they've earned at what rate, or what they do or don't do. But honestly, I think innovation and influence on people replicate and mimic what they see as successful. And I don't think that that's always repeatable. So yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. Okay.
It's interesting. The one thing that I always ask people, especially when they're looking for like recommendations, simple question, like, why do you want to be a top badge? And it's thank you for the gift. And I think their answer is extremely enlightening as to whether they're going to be successful on this app or not.
I want to jump in real quick because this is something that I do have an opinion on and I think is valuable. If anyone is going to make a case to say, here's why I believe that I'm a top badge quality person or anything like that, overwhelmingly the same answer is people repeat this like it's like rehearsed or canned or something, is that I spread positivity and have good vibes.
Fucking hate that answer.
Just remove that from your vernacular. That doesn't need to be
shit. Like I'm so glad you said that.
I'm not going to say how Miami just said, but
no
honestly,
shit we want positive vibes. No shit we all want to be harmonious. I'm sorry. I'm going to say what you can't, Chris, because you're probably under contract. We get
I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not. I just purely love this platform. I'm not.
I love this platform too. No. But be original. Like,
don't spread those rumors, Miami.
I don't like bullying. I don't like people, troll. It's like, okay, grow the fuck up. No shit. We all agreed on that when we were like 13. Like, we get it. We're on the same platform. And when you have people streaming, and I'm here to promote positivity, and you have other people in the comments like, oh yeah, Yeah, no, we all agree to that premise. You're not unique, and you're not a leader for saying the most obvious shit ever. Now, say something unique. You're laughing because you agree. I'm gonna lose my badge after tonight.
Well, we've been waiting. Let's be honest, we've all been waiting for it. We've all been waiting for that to happen. So, man, I thought having Grandpa Slush on here was controversial.
Fuck off, Chris. Why would you say something like that?
But having Grandpa Slush on here was how do I have a show? That's true. All right, so Miami, what is the real reason that you wanted? What is the real reason that you wanted to come on tonight? Because of the last question that we had is what is the reason after this year you wanted to come back? Why did you want to do this?
Well, the truth is, I mean, I feel like I've been bombarding the conversation a little bit. Is I think we both have some unique perspectives on the app. I think we both have kind of been through the ringer as far as different levels. You've seen perspectives I haven't, and vice versa. And I thought it'd be a very enlightening component to add to your show, because there's no show out there that's like, well, what does everybody think? But yet a lot of people talk about what the app is now, what it used to be, how it is today, where we're going, and you have a lot of opinions. And I'd like to think at least one of us is reputable, so one of us has to say places, maybe. But I think it needs to be said publicly, and the fact that you have a show, it's kind of the perfect opportunity. So I enjoy having these conversations.
I mean, to kind of stoke the flames, though, I think much of what you have said has been said. I mean, same like the positive vibes thing, right? I mean, in many ways, these things have been.
It's different, though. It's different because I think a lot of our opinions that are right are unpopular, and I think we've agreed on some of those today that are not shared by the masses.
Okay. Well, then my argument then is, what is the positive takeaway? What is the takeaway that can be gained from this conversation, right? Because if you're going to light this fire and say, here are these things that people do or don't understand or have to do, you have to give them a takeaway. Otherwise, it's borderline complaining. So what is the takeaway?
Little jab there, huh?
What can someone? Well, I mean, I gotta protect myself here. I mean, I can't say that I brought you on here to ventriloquist. I can't say that I brought you on here to ventriloquist things that I might
then let me end with this. I love this app, and I know I'm kind of erratic with my usage, but like the truth is, like I still continually buy gifts, and I love the gift. I love to interact with people. It's a fantastic forum. I'm not saying this because it's like, okay, say something positive. No, I truly believe it. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have an account. I wouldn't be here today. Actions speak louder than words. But I just feel like people get too caught up in the superficial, and they try to cloak that with some superficial positive statement that they think everyone wants to hear. And I just want to say that this app was originally created for people to connect to people and find out who the authentic you is. And with these goals and these badges and these diamonds, I feel like it's very easy for people to get misled and be like, oh, fuck that. I want to do what's popular. I want to get this badge for these reasons. And it totally undermines the whole reason why this app was created in the first place. So that's I don't want you to catch any slack, but the truth is, it is a public company. It is a business. I get that. But I think people are, what's the saying? You get lost in the forest looking at the trees or some shit like that. It's like you're not looking at the big picture, and you kind of lose yourself and you lose your authenticity. And, trying to play the same game that everyone else is to try to be popular or get diamonds or be top edge or whatever. It's like, that's not really what the app is about. Carol Bassman. Does that vindicate anything that I said in the last 20 minutes?
I guess I was just looking for like a nice bow to package all this to go, hey, Miami came and said a bunch of things, but
you know what? I've actually established a reputation to be kind of an asshole and saying an unpopular thing. So I think nothing what I say is going to get taken to heart. It's probably going to get swept under the rug. But like you said, everything has an 8-hour shelf life as far as news goes on this app. So I don't think anyone's really going to be hurt by it.
Okay.
Thank you for the
Well, the last question is do you feel like you have, out of all the things that you've said, feel like you've actually developed any meaningful relationships from all of this?
Yes, absolutely, for sure. Honestly, and I have a huge regret about not going to Playlist. The truth is, I really couldn't, but I really wanted to go. You're one of the people I want to meet. Jim was another one. I mean, I can go on the list forever, but I'm having conversations even outside the app, phone conversations even with people from this app that I never would have encountered in my life. And I've gathered a lot of perspective from different people, and I think it's only helpful to kind of have a peek into other people's lives around the world, really, what they do, how they see things, how they interact with people. And underneath all the, the superficial stuff that might be very obvious to everyone, there really are real people on here. And there are people that I never would have come across if it wasn't for this app. I mean, I downloaded this app thinking I was going to delete it within 24 hours. I came on here for dating purposes. Now I'm on here for like entertainment and connecting with people purposes. And it's been fucking awesome and eye-opening because it gets you out of your shell and it gets you into circles of people that you never would have come across if you hadn't joined it. Like, for a fact that I met up with KDB. It's the only person I've met up with this app for the first time ever. And it really changed everything for this app. So for that,
Really?
It's like big time.
Why?
Because
I mean, I know she's great. Doesn't matter.
No. It doesn't.
But why?
It doesn't matter. It's the fact that it made any kind of money I've invested in this, any kind of time I invested, worth it, because I just established a single tangible human relationship. And this is going to sound cliche and cheesy as fuck, but you can't put a price on that. Like human connection, especially as you get older. So the fact that I spent 4.5 hours at a bar in Miami Beach with a random person I've never met before because of this app, that makes any kind of investment worth it. And you just, like I said, this day and age when we're all locked in a little hole, especially during the pandemic, you can't put a price on human connection.
I like Jim's comment.
I'm not
I
even
heard
reading.
exactly what you said. Jim had a good comment. You're right. And
Fucking Jim.
that's what Playlist, I think that's what Playlist is. I think Playlist does that. It ends up, that's what I think why so many people advocate and talk so highly about Playlist is because it really is the ultra Super Bowl of sensory overload when it comes to finally understanding what it is you're doing this entire time, why you get on every day, why you want to gift or talk to people or do things like that. It's it's it. All right, so how do we shut this
any
down?
kind of sincerity I try to have. Thanks, Jim. Chris wasn't even listening to my response because of you. Thanks, Jimbo.
I heard what you said, that you can't put a price tag on friendship. That's the
Okay,
shit.
you heard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like the epitome of fake listening, just repeating the last thing someone says. Come on, you. I want another interview without Jim B. See right through you, Jim B. Chris.
You want to suit it up with
Fake
him?
listening. Yeah, I
Oh,
want
I
an
think you
interview
will
with
have a
Jim B.
drink.
Thomas still needs to text me back. That's bullshit, Thomas. I've never been left on red so long.
He probably knows how you feel about things and doesn't agree with them.
You probably blocked me. Thanks, Chris.
All right, last question I have for you is that where have you landed with this internal struggle of, you mentioned that you have 2 points. How do you stay authentic to you, but also understand in order to maintain a top badge, you have a diamond goal. How do you maintain the balance?
For me, it's pure luck. And that admin team will even attest to this. Like, I haven't met the goals always. It's just not who I am. And to be fair, I'm not really good at requesting the diamonds to meet those goals. Sometimes I get lucky. I am winging it hoops, but I'm truly just being myself. You see money. I'm the same way in person. So it's like badge or no badge, I'm going to continue being myself.
That was my next question.
I sound like Sesame
If you were
Street.
to lose your badge, then would you have an objection to it? Like, do you feel that would be fair in line with everything that you've said?
Would I understand it? Yes. Would I think it's fair? It's hard to say because I think anything the app does is fair because it's their app. Like, you get a lot of bitching
You mentioned
about
that
how
we have hard metrics. I mean, it's very, very visible of like what has to be met. And so it's like either you do it or you don't do it.
yes, those are set because this app has such a robust population. But the truth is there is talent out there that doesn't always get indicated based on diamonds or fades, especially new people. And like I said, before we even had these goals, my whole platform was, look, I'm here and I don't give a fuck about the diamonds. I'm going to say my 2 cents. And that worked. And then the goals, I wouldn't say a worry, but it's like, if I was a business, it'd be a going concern. There's no way this guy's going to meet his EPS goals, each quarter, because it was never the way I streamed. So, I mean, I think it's only a matter of time. If I take a week off or so, I totally get it that the badge would get taken away because no one's above the app and no one's super special. So I wouldn't have hard feelings about it. I totally understand it. But at the same time, I think there's people that would have a badge and that I don't. I'm like, really? I mean, okay. It's like, it's starting to, it's borderlining territory where it's like, well, let me just find another top badge and we'll just gift each other 4 jets, call it a day, and I'll keep my badge. And that's a profitable behavior. But it definitely, you're starting to put in jeopardy the true authenticity and realness of having a top badge and being, having good content. So once you have it, well, a couple $100 can sustain it. So like changes could come. You have to set a standard, like regardless. So I totally get it, but it's be cautious.
Okay. Excellent. All right, Miami, that's what I've got for you. Miami kicked one of my guests out when I used to have bouncers. Miami kicked one of my guests out. And Eric... I told Eric he could do that. Eric, that was hilarious. Good timing. That was the proper moment to do it, man. Yeah, Miami kicked one of my guests before. Mid-conversation, we were in the conversation doing the full interview, and Miami goes, how funny would it be if I kicked who Chris is talking to? And everyone goes, do it. And I think it was Turk said no balls. And next thing I knew, I didn't have a guest anymore. And so we kicked it. We kicked Miami. All right, everyone, that's the show today. Special thanks to, let me just real quick run over that. Whatever Miami discussed reflect his opinions and his opinions alone. Obviously, we'll have different perspectives on it. Thank you, Jim. That's super nice of you. I'm happy you feel that way. Thank you so much to all the gifters. Honestly, minus Velasquez. Right. He doesn't even show up at places when he says he's going to. I'm waiting for him to come back. Real quick, before you all go, I need to plug again that Meet Me Live Aid is live tomorrow. If you missed last week, you missed something that was honestly special. I knew that she was going to be good. Her name's Sarah King, but it's nuts. Katsu Oso is going to be on tomorrow. I've had a conversation with him today. He's an excellent musician. Please look for him tomorrow, okay? Katsu Oso, he'll be doing the Meet Me Live Aid. I'll blast it out. Check it out. Just lay back. I'll do an interview with him. He'll do about 4 or 5 songs, and it's gonna be great. Okay. Special thank you to everybody who gifted today. To Jay, George, Jim, Nicole, Vodka. Right? I can't even go on. There's so many people who gifted so much today. Harley Wiggles. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, would like to ever follow up with me, my Instagram is Chris Casper, spelled exactly like this up here. Okay. That's my Instagram. I will look at your DMs and all that stuff there. You can message me here. Drop a favorite if you haven't. I appreciate it. Much love. Wow, Jim leveled up on me. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. That was really nice to hear. Next week, we got the same thing happening every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know who you want to see. Let me know what you want to see. I'm basically at this point open to re-interviewing people that I've interviewed, as long as it can be a different conversation than the first time. Because, let's be honest, most people have been here less than a year. Can I get on? Of course you can, Jim. There's a permanent slot for Jim B. Wait, is there something happening, Jim? Are you alluding to that something could be happening on the app? I wish. Okay, that'd be cool. I fell asleep last night. This is after hours now. I fell asleep last night thinking about what if there was a Meet Me Live house. It'd be so perfect during this quarantine where if you had like all the streamers, because like right now I work remote, so I could totally stay. Like if it was like a multi-week thing that was like a show, like a reality TV show, you'll hear it here first. That would be super cool. But that was my last thought as I went to bed. I was like, what if there was a reality TV show during this quarantine for Meet Me? That'd be pretty cool. Jim, DJ, Chris, Casper. Yes. And yep. So that's it. That's the show today, guys. Much love. Be your other favorite streamers. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Meet Me Live Aid, and I'll be live before to help remember and remind you guys to go do it. Bye, everyone. See you on the Instagrams and everywhere else. Much love. Bye.